Hey everyone, it's Sensei Victoria Whitfield from naturalintuition.com, welcoming you back to episode 27 of the Journeypreneur Podcast, your source for channeled holistic stress management techniques, guidance, inspiration, and motivation on your path to rapid financial ascension and massive impact as a conscious entrepreneur. The title of this episode is Disarming Disagreements. Disarming Disagreements. So, I'm on my way back from a team healing session. So, I held space for a small team for them to really ground out this ongoing kind of internal misunderstanding that's been, just keeping them on edge. All the individual team members really feeling frustrated about this one occurrence that happened, and then all of the discussions around it and further misunderstandings. It was a big communication kerfuffle, as my friend Stacey Martino would call it, kerfuffle. And oh my goddess, it was a bit of a marathon session. I think it was 4 hours. Yeah, so feeling a little exhausted as I'm driving the truck to the bank now, but that's always a nice feeling. And while I'm on my way, I thought I'd just share with you a really powerful shift that we had in the team, specifically around how to disagree, but as conscious people, like consciously coming together to disagree in a productive way rather than one that's adversarial or critical, judgmental, negative, one that is causing more pain. We're just really focusing on having a disagreement in a way that is to edify the team as a whole, that reinforces our values, disagreeing in a way that respects one another and helps us maintain a high standard of communication, cooperation, and respect. You don't have to agree on everything in order to respect the people that you work with or partner with, right, in your relationships. You don't have to agree on everything in order to respect them and even love them. That's not required. And so how we had this disarming disagreement was using the phrase, I think differently, rather than saying, well, I disagree. And it's owning what you are doing is, I'm thinking differently. Now, this is not to say it in a performative way of like, well, I think differently, and because of that, blah, 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 like speaking from the heart. When you think differently and you share that I think differently about this subject, you're holding your ground, but also acknowledging that the other person has a point of view as well. And this was a big source of suffering and tension in the team that I was holding space for, is that expecting the individual team members that came out, they were expecting the other parties to change the way that they think to be the way as them. And it's a massive source of suffering if we keep expecting other people to change, to turn into the people that we want them to be. Whereas the power of being in a team together is in diversity. There's unity in diversity. Having different points of view is actually really empowering. Another vision that supports that, just so you can have this image in your head, is that if you're in battle, right, and let's say there's only 3 of you and you're surrounded, do you want to be all facing one way in order to try and make it out of that situation alive? No, you want everyone's back to be against each other, and whatever you can, you handle the direction that you're pointing in. Like as the opposing forces are coming in, surrounding you, at least with the three of you back to back to back, you can cover 360 degrees. Whereas if you're only facing in one direction and you were surrounded, the people could come up behind you and totally take advantage of your vulnerable open situation. So when we're on a team together, we want to value the beauty of the different points of view that each team member brings. And so I just wanted to share this insight that we had during our team healing session that I was doing for one of my VIP clients. It was really beautiful to see that and to help everyone respect that there are different points of view and give permission for there to be different thoughts, different points of view, as long as we're able to orient to the same values, right, and the same beliefs. And for us, we were orienting to love, like trying to find the love at the center of this team, right, their love for each other, their love for their common goal. That really helped us find a ground, find a sense of peace within this disagreement to help disarm it, instead of walking on eggshells and waiting for some ticking time bomb, right, in the form of your teammates to blow up at some point. No, let's disarm that time bomb and instead lovingly see things differently and appreciate and respect the different points of view that we had. Now, I don't know where you're at on your path to rapid financial ascension and massive impact as a conscious entrepreneur, but wherever you are at on your journey, eventually you're going to have some disagreements. Eventually you're going to see things differently than the other people who you're working with, right? And as long as your values are aligned and there's mutual respect for one another, that other viewpoint that you have and that other viewpoint that they have could very well be the one thing that makes you an awesome team rather than just a mediocre team, right? Having those different viewpoints helps to make sure you're covering much more ground between one another. So maybe this one's for you, maybe this isn't. Be kind to yourself. If you're listening to this episode in particular, like, I don't really understand. Your main takeaway, all I wanted to share, was this concept of saying it to the people that you're working with. Well, I think differently, and I understand that you do too, and that is perfectly okay, right? As long as we're just clear of, here's how I think about it, right? And now I understand how you think, and allowing that to be. You know, there's a phrase that describes this mental acrobatic that you do where you don't try to fix things that appear to be broken or appear to be resolved. You don't try to resolve things that are unresolved. It's called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. Allowing for more than one contrasting idea, thought, vibration, philosophy, perspective, even sounds, right? A cognitive dissonance, just allowing that to remain unresolved. How do we do that, by the way? Well, one, it's a decision. It's a decision that we just make to say, you know what, I'm not going to fix you. I'm not going to fix you. As long as I've fully communicated what I have for you and you fully communicated what you have for me, then, well, here we are, right? Trusting that if we are divinely contracted to be together, right? Trusting that we both value and our relationship, trusting in that and leaning on that gives you the courage to allow for that dissonance. But if you don't trust that this is happening for you, if you don't trust that this person is aligned with you, then of course you're not going to allow for cognitive dissonance or for saying you think differently. No, them's fighting words. Right? And trust is a whole nother can of worms then. But for those of us who are aligned and are bonded and are really truly connected and resonant, leaning into that trust and allowing for vulnerability and not fixing the other person, that's the courageous path. And you can do it when someone is 100% committed to you and you're 100% committed to them. It's super hard to do that when you're doing the 50-50 thing. Being, okay, you scratch my back and then I'll scratch yours, but if you don't scratch my back, then I'm not going to scratch yours. No, be a back scratcher anyway. Right? Be 100% in. And that way you become an anchor of trust in the relationship. And trust is contagious. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I hope this serves you. Go ahead to naturalintuition.com. If you're having some trouble being able to trust, if you're having things coming up in your team, I'd invite you all to come out to our next multi-day retreat so that you can ground and clear the energy and really come to that space of clarity so that you can allow for cognitive dissonance or so that you can communicate yourself clearly to one another. Go ahead to naturalintuition.com, click on the retreats button, and I'll see you at the next one. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Show me some love if it did bless you in any way, shape, and form. If it spoke to you, inspired you, hit that like button, hit the share button. If someone's going through a disagreement, working with other ticking time bombs, let them know that there's a resource out there that could support them. Sending you so much love, and please enjoy the journey. Do not lose that glow as you grow yourself and your business. All right? We'll see you soon. Bye for now.